Good morning, my friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to spend some time here in the side shade garden. We are going to clean up, we're going to get rid of some annuals, we're going to prune back some perennials, and we are going to jazz up the 3 containers that I have here that will give us some beautiful evergreen structure throughout the fall, winter, and early spring. So I am excited to get in this space with you. Of course, we are in our North Carolina Zone 8A garden. And if you're familiar with fall in the South, yes, it may be November, but y'all, it is quite warm and toasty. This actually reminds me more of spring weather than fall weather. I am currently wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and it is 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, I don't know, 73, 74 degrees today. The humidity is quite high because we've had some beautiful rain. So while it may be officially fall, it may be November, it does not feel like that here in the gardens today. But we're going to plant these gorgeous perennials in the containers. And so we're going to get some good growth on them before the actual cold of the winter hits. So let me just kind of give you an overview of where we are and what we are going to do before we dive into today's project. This is a small shade garden here along the side of our house, right here along the driveway. We get shade here because of the house. It will get, in the summertime, it'll get about 4 to 5 hours of sun, but my shade plants really thrive here. You can see though, right, our hostas are looking sad. They're beginning to go dormant, right? So here you have a Wiggles and Squiggles hosta that's looking rough. Next door, we've got a euchra and a fern that is absolutely stunning. So there's messes and successes everywhere. We are going to go ahead and pull out all of the annuals. Basically what I have in here, I only have 3 different kinds. I have the Endless Illumination Broalia. It's just looking a little rough. Its time is limited. And then the Rocapuco Double Impatience. There's a couple of blooms here and there, but I'm just ready to go ahead and get them out. Get all of these annuals cleaned out. And then my golden tiaras, you can see those hostas definitely have begun their dormancy process. So we're going to clean those up and get those all that foliage out and just make it look neat and tidy. Now, like the hostas behind it, and of course my holly fern, they're looking fine. So I'm just going to leave them alone. They're still going to give me some structure. I'm leaving those alone. The containers, I have a large hay rack here behind the zebra hydrangea. That's where we're going to plant one section of these shade-loving evergreen perennials. My zebra hydrangea is a macrophylla hydrangea. It blooms on both, well, blooms mainly on old growth. So I am not going to prune it. Not going to do anything to that because I want gorgeous blooms next year. And then the other hay rack is here in front of the short window. This window is where our kitchen sink is, so we look out that window a lot. And so we're going to put some fun perennials in that as well. And then, like I said, more annuals in here that are going to come out. We've got like a perennial fern that needs to be trimmed back. All of these annuals are going to go ahead and get cleaned up, and even my Solomon seal, which is back here, it can go ahead and get neat and tidy too. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to give love where love is needed. Take out the annuals, clean up some perennials that need to be cleaned up, and then I have got a Johnny full of gorgeous perennials that we are going to plant. I'm just going to show them to you, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the bed cleaned up, and then I will meet you back here, and we're going to plant all of these beauties in those containers. It is going to be a lovely, very peaceful, calming arrangements in those containers. That cleanup was pretty painless. So it was a little wet because we've had some blessed, gorgeous rain. But yeah, it was really easy to do. So all we had to do is just pull those annuals out, right? Got all of those pulled out, and you can see things now, right? You can see all the other different plants that are in there. And it just makes the bed a little bit cleaner and neater and tidier. With my perennials, some of them I went ahead and pruned back. Your eucharis are going to be evergreen, so we just leave those alone. If there's some leaves on the outside that look a little rough, you can go ahead and pull those off or snip them off. It's no big deal, whatever you want to do. And then with the fern, my ferns here are going to be completely like herbaceous. So as soon as a freeze hits, they're going to die down to the ground. So what I went ahead and did, because they were looking really rough, I just went ahead and gave them a flat top, right? And even when we get a freeze, like all that 6 inches of stalk, all of that will completely go away. So in the wintertime, it literally looks like there's absolutely nothing there. If you want to leave your ferns, you absolutely can do that. This is a personal choice. I just decided to go ahead and do them now because they were not looking good. So I just went ahead and just chopped them off. You're not going to hurt anything by doing that. Your rootstock is still nice and strong, has plenty of energy for next year, so all is well on that. I even took out the Solomon seal. You could probably see I literally could just pull them out. Once they start to turn that yellow-brown color, those stalks will just let go super, super easy. Solomon seal is one of my favorite easy, low-maintenance perennials. If you have Solomon seal and you want to transplant it, now is a great time to do it. Solomon seal has these rhizomes that literally are just like right underneath the surface of the soil. You can see them right here. Kind of like an iris. So you can like lift them up, snap them. Y'all, they break super easy. And as long as you have a good little root system like this, like a little piece, almost like ginger, if you're familiar with like fresh ginger, you can snap it and place it wherever you want and it will spread. So you can even see, our weather poor, y'all, is so crazy. There's even a little sprig, like a fresh bud coming up. So this is what it looks like in the springtime. So everything's just a little confused. So the Solomon seal is here in the back, and you can see literally, like I said, I just cleaned it up, pulled away all of the dead foliage, and then there you go. I do put some of my yard art in the holes for the winter. So I have the little mushrooms right here, and then I have my rain gauge right there, because for whatever reason, when we get deliveries in the wintertime, sometimes they think, oh, well, I'll just cut through and walk through the flower bed and deliver to the porch. Drives me insane. So I try to put pieces right there where they just actually like use the sidewalk, which is only, 5 feet away. So there's that. Now, everything in here, like I said, cleaned up. The hostas, I think I did all of them except for like 3 of them. I went ahead and cleaned up, took my hand rake, pulled out that dead foliage. Any of that little green foliage that was left, I just went ahead and snipped it off. Y'all, it's the same thing. Your hostas are completely fine. They are going dormant. They will go dormant. In the wintertime, it will look like as if nothing is there, but you absolutely can go ahead and trim that back if you like. If you don't want to, just wait until your freeze comes and they will turn brown. They will turn completely smushy. They will lay on the ground and you can just rake them up super easy. It is a complete and total personal preference on what you want to do with that. Now, I am ready to go ahead and let's make some containers. Now, what we're going to do is we do have 3 containers that we're going to go ahead and plant. The one I didn't tell you about is my little blue pot right here. In this little blue pot, with tall, skinny blue pot, we are going to plant a I Spy. And this I Spy is a eucharella from Proven Winners. It is a part shade to shade evergreen plant. So a eucharella is a cross between a euchara and a tiarella. If you remember, I have I Spy in the urns right beside the garage. So this will, let's see if I can back up a little bit so you can see the whole picture. So we'll have that one in the blue pot, and then on each side of the garage, right, I have the unique stone urns. So there's one here, and then there's one right there. That I Spy is in that as well. So we will have 3 of the same plant in containers within this space. Love them. The ones in the urns by the garage have done fantastic. They love that spot. So it gets enough sun, but it's not late, it's not hot afternoon sun, and we're in the winter, so they can handle a little bit more sun, and that'll give me a nice little green little mound right there. Now on the half circle one, I've placed it. I haven't planted anything. So what we're going to do is have some fun here. So I have got two of the Ascot Rainbow, one of my absolute favorite perennials, right? Ascot Rainbow is a great evergreen sun. It's sun to part sun. Gorgeous, fun color on this plant. Nice and soft. It will give me a little bit of height. It's not going to get crazy tall, especially here in the winter time. So I put one on each side. Between the two Ascot Rainbows, we have Prom Dress. Prom Dress is a new euchera from Proven Winners. Nice big leaves on it. Nice kind of that, it's a dark purple with a little bit of a silver in it. And in fact, y'all, I have one, we're gonna put that one there. And then looky here, right here in the ground, I have another one. You were with me when we planted that one. It is doing great and loving life. So these two will just kind of pair off of each other really nicely. And then the Everillo Carex, right? Another great evergreen perennial that prefers that morning sun, filtered sun, not hot afternoon sun. And this will give us some trailing habit right here. I have got to put soil in here and do all that, so everything's a little sunk right now. But this will give us some nice, fun interest, and this will be a great evergreen container that will last me all the way through the spring. The only downside about me planting these two hay racks right here is I always in the spring get some little birds, typically little house wrens, that like to put their nest in there. I mean, there's worse things than having a sweet little bird nest right outside your window. But typically it like delays me from putting in my summer annuals. It's a risk I'm willing to take, and if they have a little nest with little babies, well, it'll be fun to watch them grow. And then once they fly the coop, then fly the nest, then we'll go ahead and plant the summer stuff. And then here in the next one, now I know right now, y'all, it looks a little smushed again. There's hardly any soil in here, so we've got to fluff everything up. We're going to keep it really simple. We're going classic, y'all. We are using the autumn ferns. I have got 3 autumn ferns. 1, 2, and 3. And then in between it, we're going to use the Feather Falls Carex. All of this, y'all, is nice and evergreen, loves the shade, and will handle all of these conditions. They're cold tolerant. They can just handle being here all winter long and gives me some interest. And then for like Christmas, I always typically like to come in and do some fun little stuff. So I could easily add in some like fun like Christmas accents with this hay rack right here. And then before long, this hydrangea is going to be sticks. So right now it's a little challenging to see the container. That's all right. I'm not worried about that. Once the hydrangea loses its leaves, then you can see it a little bit better. Now, talking about hydrangeas and your macrophylla hydrangeas, this is Zebra. Zebra gets its name because the new stalks are like nearly black, and they have gorgeous pure white flowers on them. Hence the name Zebra. It is a macrophylla, blooms on old growth. I have never pruned this because the winters sometimes can be weird as far as like if it gets that late, freeze on it, then it'll kill some of it back. This year was a really good year for this hydrangea, and I had blooms all over it, and it was beautiful and it was gorgeous. I think the height on this is like 4 to 5 feet tall. And so again, I've never pruned it. I will wait and let's see what happens in the springtime. Do I get a late freeze where it kills some of my buds and I'm not gonna get very many flowers? Or do I have a gorgeous year like I did this year? If I have a gorgeous year, then I will wait until it has finished flowering and then I will prune it. So once the flowers have really kind of started to fade, then I will prune it probably back, I don't know, maybe just down a couple of feet, and then it's going to put on new growth throughout the rest of the summer into early fall, and it'll put on the buds for then the following year. So if you have a hydrangea that blooms on old growth, you do not want to prune it right now in the fall. It is very tempting for me to want to prune this to make sure that everybody can see the little hay rack. Don't do that because you're going to cut off your flowers for next year. So just leave it alone after it finishes flowering, then you can go ahead and prune it. So what I am going to do with these 3 containers, I am going to add some fresh potting soil. I've got my Proven Winners. I have got my Biotone, and then I've got to grab some Land and Sea out of the closet, and we will top dress with that. So everybody gets some beautiful fresh soil, some good starter fertilizer, and then top dress with the compost. And we're going to get these babies planted, and then I'll see you back here in a minute, and we'll see how it all looks together. Okay, my friends, so the 3 planters have been planted, and today's project is complete. So let's just walk through right quick, and let's just take a look at everybody and see how everybody is doing. We'll start down here with the blue pot and our I Spy. So a little trick, if you have a container that you're planting and the plant is very full, and it would be hard to really kind of get in there and get all the soil in there because there's not a lot of room between the root ball and the container. That little trick that I did where you take the plant out of the pot, put the empty pot in, and then pack the soil, the compost all around it, pack it in really tight, and then the plant will just slip right in there. It just fits like a glove, nice and snug in there. Then when you water it, any of those little air pockets, make sure you want to get those out. But I mean, that's just the easiest way to do it instead of kind of destroying the plant and trying to get dirt everywhere. So that's a great little hack. Do that sometimes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Like for example, when we planted the little half circle window box here, because my Ascot Rainbow is so upright, right? It's very, it was very easy for me to put the soil in around and then just to plant, this in and then pack it in like the traditional way. So if you wanted to do the pot and pot, method, you could do that, but very happy with how this one has turned out. Like the height of the Ascot Rainbow, it will fill in right here, right? As it gets the sun around it, this will fill in. You'll get some new shoots coming out. The Evergreen will fill in and get nice and full and come, just kind of spill out and just fill in this whole container. And then of course the Euchera is just a nice contrast of color, and it echoes the one that is in the ground. As a little side note, because we are talking about gardens and nature and all the things, I don't know if you can see that the camera will pick up this little, basically this little gray thing right here. So what this is a praying mantis sack. So it's a little egg sack. So I did if you're not familiar, you can do this. I know the iPhones do it. I love it. So you can take a picture of something, open it up in your photos, and then down there at the bottom, there'll be like a little eye with a circle around it. Sometimes it'll have like a little picture of a bug or a leaf or whatever it may be. You tap on that and it will do like a Google search for what that is. So it came up that this was the Carolina mantis. That is the state insect of the South Carolina. So there you go. So I am leaving it alone. I adore my praying mantis. They are great beneficial insects for our gardens. And so so if you see a little sack like that, you're like, what is that? Do a little picture, do a little internet search, and friend or foe, you can go from there. But yeah, I do adore my little praying mantises. They are quite fun and great garden companions. Now here we have the long hay rack. Again, it's a little hard to see because the hydrangea is currently hiding it. That's all right. We think long term here. I did took the plants out of the pots and then packed the pots in, because this is a case where, because the ferns are so fluffy, right? And then your feather falls is very fallish. So it would be kind of hard to get all the soil in there that I need to, and make sure that I've got it nice and tight and compact. So that's why I went ahead and took all the plants out, put the pots in, sprinkled Biotone around it, the potting soil, and then the Land and Sea. And then all I had to do was literally just put in the plants and then get them nice and watered. But everybody is watered and doing, they should be really, really happy. So this is an easy way to create some fun fall, winter, evergreen containers for the shade, because I've always struggled. Like when I first got these, I planted some pansies and violas. They may have enough like sun in the summertime, but in the winter, because your sun will change throughout the seasons. So they just struggle. It was a slow death for them. So there's not enough sun for me to do anything like a pansy, viola, that kind of thing. But with these, especially this one, will get the most sun. So with those being handling, 4 or 5 hours of that morning sun, they will do great. Now, as far as what am I going to do with this flower bed in the future? I'm not finished with this bed as far as like completely for the winter. So what I will do moving forward is basically I just am in a little period of a wait. So I'm going to wait until that first hard freeze comes. Maybe it's a couple of hard freezes, I don't know. So that way it will go ahead and kill back all of the foliage on those hostas that I have. My holly fern is an evergreen. This is what I affectionately call Annette's holly fern, because I took a clipping from my friend Annette, who lives in Waco, Texas. And so that was, four, I don't even know how many years ago it was now. But this is Annette's holly fern because it came from her house in Texas. It is an evergreen. Clearly loves its spot right there. So wait for the hostas to die completely back. I will wait for the hydrangea to lose all of her leaves. The fern will die completely back. So once everything is dormant and basically most of the leaves off the trees have fallen, because the way the wind blows, they will get caught up in this bed. I will come back through, clean it up one last time, right? Get all that debris out. And then I like to come through, and typically I will put Land and Sea down. We've done that for the past couple of years. There is tons of beautiful, great organic matter in this flower bed. I don't think I will need to do Land and Sea this year. I think I will be just fine putting down the Daddy Pete soil enhancer, because that is what we have decided that's what we're going to use as our mulch for all of our flower beds. And so while it is a great mulch, it keeps the weeds out, it looks really nice, and it is bagged, so it's super easy for me to do by myself. I don't have to ask one of the fellas, to help me unload bucketfuls of, mulch. And so it's really easy. So that's what we will do. And then this bed will be completely done for the winter time. And then come spring, as everybody begins to break dormancy, then I will come through and I fertilize basically everybody with some plant tone. If you want to get super specific, like your camellia, like this white by the gate, would take holly tone. Your hydrangeas can take rose tone, or you can just come through and broadcast and put some plant tone down and call it a day. It just whatever strikes your fancy on that day. So while the bed's not done for the winter time, it definitely is neater, tidier, and we are moving in the right direction, right? Do what you can with the amount of time you have and the resources you have. And let's just be honest, the energy that you have, right? And so do what you can, and any little piece that you can get out there and be in nature for, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days, it does not matter. It will always make you feel better, even if it's 74, 5 degrees in November here in North Carolina. But I feel great, I feel accomplished, and it's gonna be a gorgeous fall throughout the entire season. So y'all have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.